at the month end, and this means it's time for a monthly book wrap-up video. This time we are going for a specific theme, spooky reads, because since it was Halloween time, your girl was caught up reading a bunch of spooky, creepy horror thrillers and everything. So I have a big stack of books here, which is everything I read this month and I really enjoyed, and I'm going to recommend to you too. Note though, this book review is not for the faint-hearted because these are a bit creepy. So let's just start off with one of my favorite authors, Ruth Ware. And The Turn of the Key is one of the best books I've read by her because it talks about this nanny who goes to this new smart house and like she has to take care of some creepy kids as well. First of all, books with creepy things happening itself are creepy. Creepy kids always gets to me. Like when kids just do creepy stuff, I can't. And since it's a smart house, there's like a lot of sounds heard and everything, and the nanny just has to figure out like, is this place actually supernatural? Is there something paranormal going on here? Or is it just the house acting creepy? And let me tell you, when I was reading this book, I wasn't breathing. I was holding my breath so much because it's really creepy. Every time the person in the book turns back because there's a sound, I was turning back too, and I could not read this when I was alone. So highly recommend that. The second one I suggest is Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. This was another book I really enjoyed because it just grips you. Like, you know those scary books that just grip your heart? You can feel like this hand clenching it. This is what it felt like because actually from the very first chapter the thrill begins because it's this isolated kind of setting in which this gay couple just goes there with their child and suddenly these people just intrude there and they just come to their cabin and they are like, you guys have to do this thing, and it's something completely unimaginable, and only if you do it we'll let you go, otherwise we're going to kill all of you. And it's something completely unimaginable. I can't tell you what it is, but let me just say it was really scary, it was really creepy, and when I tried to imagine myself in this situation and what I would do, that's what made it even scarier. So highly recommend this, and the Halloween vibes in this are amazing. So here is another book I really enjoyed, which is by Alice Feeney, which is Rock Paper Scissors. I really love this because the twist at the ending caught me totally unawares. It's about this couple and they're constantly fighting. They have a dog and things are really not good between them, and they are almost on the brink of a divorce, and they are just going to this chapel which is isolated again, and they are like, let's stay at this chapel. Again, this chapel has creepy vibes and noises everywhere and it's just super scary. Another thing that made this very scary was that the guy, I forgot what the name of his disease is, but the guy has some disease by which he has face blindness. He can't recognize people's faces. So if he sees people, he can't recognize who they are. So there are times when somebody is stalking him, somebody is creeping on him. It's like they both are trying to kill each other. And he's just trying to figure out like, is it his wife or is it somebody else? They are not alone in the chapel. That's what was amazing. So definitely check it out. And the Halloween spooky vibes in this is on point. And it also alternates between chapters where the wife is sending letters to him when they got married versus present day when they are at the chapel. So that was great too. The next one I suggest is The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. It is also known as The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle in some places. It's quite a chunky book. It's almost 500 pages long, but I finished it in one day. I'm not kidding. I finished it in one day. It's about, I don't know how to explain this without giving it away, but it's about this woman named Evelyn Hardcastle, and this guy just wakes up as one of the guests at her house and he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember who he is, why is he's there. He doesn't remember anything. He just knows that there's this woman named Evelyn Hardcastle. She's invited a bunch of people. It's almost like Cluedo. You remember when there's this person called Mr. Body and he invites a bunch of people like Colonel Mustard, Mrs. Peacock and everyone, and they just come to his house and somebody killed him and he doesn't know who and you have to figure it out. It's something like that because somebody kills her, and this guy, every day he wakes up as a different person. So out of all the guests who went there, he doesn't know which guest he's going to wake up as the next day. And I don't know how to say this without spoiling it, but he wakes up and within 7 days, like Evelyn Hardcastle is going to die every single day for 7 days, and by the end of 7 days he has to figure it out. Or he might get stuck in the body of any one of these people, and they are all hateable people. I'm not going to say anything more. Let's just say the vibes are amazing, the setting and location, everything is on point. Just pick it up, please. The next one is something very much Agatha Christie-like. It's called The Decagon House Murders. The reason I love this is because I loved And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, in which there are 10 people, they go to this island and then they all start dying one by one. You think somebody did the murder, but they are the person who dies next, and then at the end somebody just comes and they are like, it was me all along, I faked my death and everything. It's not a spoiler, that's just some red herring I put there. Or did I? Anyway, so it's amazing because these people go to this place called the Decagon House, and everything there is in a decagon shape. Like there are decagon cups, decagon spoons. The thing is, what made this interesting was they don't reveal the names of any of these people throughout the thing, because they all call each other by, like, they are part of a mystery club. So they call each other with code names. Like one of them is called Agatha, one of them was called Conan after Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who made Sherlock Holmes. So each person calls each other by that name, and they start dying one by one, and you don't even know who's doing it, because after a point you kind of mix up all the names. There's one person named Shelley for Mary Shelley or whatever, but you don't know if they are male or female. You don't know anything. It's like simultaneously the detectives are searching here. They are trying to figure out what's going on. You don't know who killed everyone and then came here pretending to be this person, because you never know anyone's names. And that's all I'm going to say. It's just amazing. It's like Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None on steroids, because it was one level above that. So down to the last two books. These are two of the best ones actually. One is called Horror Story. This is actually kind of on the expensive side. It's around 700 or 800 on Amazon, but it's totally worth it because the cover is creepy. First of all, it's about this store very much like IKEA, in which creepy things start happening. Like things go missing, sounds are heard. When they come again the next morning, things are just misplaced, and it looks really nice in the morning, but it turns creepy like this at night. It's pretty much like a night and day scene. So it's like these 4 employees decide to stay back one night to kind of catch the person in action, because of course they don't think it's supernatural. Like, come on, is it Halloween? So they don't think it's supernatural. They think some person is doing it. Maybe some beggar who's just coming in and staying in the place at night because he doesn't have anywhere to go. So they want to catch him in the act, and things start happening. So the thing I really like this, the whole thing is kind of like a manual. It's like all the pages, they are all like a manual. Like every chapter begins with something like this. So it's like Bruca, and it's a sofa, and they have spoken a bit about the sofa. And the thing is, whatever furniture item is there at the start of the chapter, that item is seen in the story. So it's kind of like this. Each one just goes with this. It's pretty much the whole book is like an IKEA catalog. I'm not kidding. So even at the ending, and see, this is the author's bio, and it's like an ID card. It's amazing. It's like, it's literally, the whole book is a catalog. It looks like a coffee table book, right? You can just leave this on your coffee table. Some unassuming person might come and read it, and they can't sleep at night. So it's amazing. Just read it. Just read it. And the final one is by Riley Sager, the king of creepy things, which is Home Before Dark. I love this because, let's just say it again as a creepy house. A recurring theme in all of these books is creepy houses, clearly, because that's kind of my vibe. So I really like this because it's about this girl, and she kind of inherits this property, and her father used to write a horror story which is based on the house they lived in. So it's kind of like they lived in this house, and then they just left their things there, and this mother, father and child just escaped from there one day, and they just ran out. And the father said it's because there are ghosts in this house, that's why we ran out, and he made that a book. So this girl inherits that property, and she's convinced, like, I don't remember any of this happening, obviously it's not haunted, or is it? And then all the creepy things that happen, and she's just kind of trying to figure it out. The thing is, there were a lot of small and big plot twists throughout the thing, but by the end, even the tiniest detail was wound up. That's why I loved it, because I wasn't even expecting the author to talk about this and tie it up at the end, but they brought it in from somewhere, and I was like, oh yeah, that happened, and everything had an explanation at the end, and it was completely satisfying. That's why I really loved it, and you should too, so definitely pick it up. So that's about it. Those are all the books I read this month, which were around a spooky theme, and you should definitely read it as well. See this big space? This is where I picked them all up from my shelf, so I really love you guys. So that's about it. Some other books I would recommend, maybe if you love something with like a children's vibe but not exactly meant for children, try Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I can't believe this is actually a children's book, because Neil Gaiman had written this, and I myself got chills. I'm not even kidding. Another one would maybe be Nancy Drew books. Nancy Drew has one such horror story book in which all of these people kind of go on this reality TV show. I remember reading it when I was very young, and I really liked it. So they go on this reality TV show, and they kind of have to figure out what's going on, and there are supernatural things happening. Of course, Nancy Drew is some person who's behind everything. They don't go spooky like these, but it's really good. So definitely check that out. And it's been a long time, so I'm just going to wrap up for now. So definitely pick up these books. Let me know if you have read any of them, any other recommendations you have. I would love to hear them. And stay tuned for the next wrap up. Thanks for watching.